G'day. This week's video is about using the Hercules Carbide Cutters. There's two of them I use, the Hercules and the Viceroy. The Hercules is the larger of the two, and you usually use that for hogging out material. And the smaller one, around a 6mm carbide cup, for doing the finer details. Now, the reason I'm going to be using these tools this time, I think they're a great tool to provide some very clean cuts. Now this bowl is going to be a 3.5-inch deep bowl, ends up being 12 inches in diameter, and it's made out of a piece of cherry which I got out of a slab from a guy just in the local area. So this is the finished product here, and it came out extremely well. But you can see here the convex walls here. The bowl gouge can accomplish that, of course, and the flat floor. So you probably need an Ellsworth grind and a bottom feeder gouge to accomplish that. But with the Carbide Cup Cutters from Hercules Tools, you can do that in all one sweep. There's that. The bottom, I used the Sorby texturing tools to make a little pattern on the bottom there. And also, I did a bit of a repair job on the side here. There was a bit of a crack coming from there, you can see. And I used Starbond 5mm epoxy and mixed it with some gold epoxy tint. Yeah, the repair came out pretty well. You wouldn't even notice from the actual bowl finish. So, and the other thing is the finish too, using the axe paste, axe polish, and then the Mylan's friction polish on the finish. It came out extremely well, as you see. All right, no more chatting from me. Let's get stuck into how this is all done and those Hercules tools. Glad to have you aboard and follow me along. Cheers.
Yeah, FUPA there, it's Hunter tools these tools come from. So starting off with the Hercules tool, it's the roughing carbide cup. It does take out a lot of material fairly quickly, and that carbide cup cutter, it lasts an awful long time. I've got a spare which I've had in the drawer here now for probably 2 months. The original one is still operative. Now you can put this tool directly facing the workpiece, or you can put it on its side, and you can even crank the tool over onto its side about a 45 degrees to give a even better finishing cut. I really haven't had to do that, to be honest. Just the face on or the side cut, it does the job pretty well. Now I'm speeding up the video as usual, where it does take a bit of time, but you can still see, even though there's 4 to 8 times its normal speed, what is happening with that tool and how to use it. Creating the tenon now for the Vic Mark 150 chuck, using a 1/2-inch skew chisel to put an angle on that tenon. Half-inch bowl gouge now, just to give a better surface on the outside of this bowl. Not that the Hunter tools wouldn't do the job. I'm just well used to using a bowl gouge. Push and pull cuts and a scraping cut there. Now there is a crack in the side of this bowl, which I'm about to show how I fix that using the Starbond 5mm epoxy and a gold tint mixed in with that epoxy to fill up the crack. Small cracks I'll just use the thick CA or thin CA depending on how big the cracks are. But the 5mm epoxy with some of the bigger cracks, it makes it a feature rather than an obvious fix. So you can see here this crack's probably around a 1/4 inch wide. It doesn't penetrate too far into the bowl's structure, so it's really just making sure that crack is filled up. The tape I use there is something called epoxy tape. You get it from Amazon. It adheres to wood pretty damn quick and fast and hard, so it doesn't come off even if the bowl is spinning. So it's a good bit of tape, that. clear also, so you can see if it's leaking. Using a small gauged awl to stuff that epoxy into the crack, make sure it penetrates deeply. And as the name suggests, 5 minutes epoxy, 5 minutes as hard as nails. Reversing the bowl now onto the Vicmart chuck, and to start hollowing out. Just get a nice flat face with the bowl gouge first off, and then immediately start using the Hercules cutter. Okay, this is the Hercules. I just use this to take out the majority of material, and then change over to the Viceroy Carbide Cup Cutter, and from Hunter Tools. As I said before, there's no affiliations, just I like these tools, and they do the job well, particularly if it's a deep bowl and a convex wall. Now this is the Viceroy in action now. The cardboard, this particular cutter, the cutter blade is offset, in this case to the left, so you can move the cutter on the insides of convex shapes, and you can see those shavings that are coming off just as well as bowl gouge shavings, so it does cut rather than scrape, so it gives a very, very smooth surface. The only thing with this Viceroy tool is that sure, the shavings are coming off, but the bites are very, very narrow, and it tends to produce ridges more so than in a bowl gouge. So I go over it at the end here with a bowl scraper to get rid of those ridges. Certainly doesn't leave any tear out with a combination of this and the bowl scraper. Finish comes up extremely well. Even on the end grain, there was a tiny bit of tear out there, but nothing that the sanding couldn't fix. So it came out pretty good in the end. As you can see here, a little bit of CA glue and then rubbing some sawdust into that glue gives it a little bit of a thicker patch in some of those cracks, and the ingrain tear out, which it wasn't really prevalent, but it was enough to just put a little bit of CA glue there to patch it up. I'm going to now move on a little bit further into sanding up to 400 grit, and I use Mylan's sanding sealer before any sorts of finishes go on it. This is a 1.5 inch bowl scraper just to remove those tool marks. Got to keep this thing very sharp, and a little bit of a burr on the edge does it wonders. Got to be very careful not to put the pointy end of the bowl scraper against the surface of the bowl. It has a tendency to catch, and it will catch with a bowl in its finishing stages. You really do not want to have a catch at this point in time, so be very careful on how it's addressed to the face of your bowl. You can see those shavings coming off there. There are cut shavings, they're not scraping. Even though it's called a bowl scraper, it does cut very nicely and removes those tool marks fairly quickly. Final sanding now, just before I apply the Mylan's sanding sealer, followed by the axe paste and axe polish, and finally the Mylan's friction polish. using the frugal vacuum chuck to reverse the bowl to remove the tenon from the rear. Quite amazed with this particular tool because it holds bowls extremely fast, and I've taken many tenon off now since using this tool, and it hasn't yet once moved. The knack here is to align the bowl up by using the reverse of, in my case, the Vic Mark chuck on the tailstock, address the project against the vacuum chuck, and the two shall meet together and remove the tailstock chuck, and the bowl will stay where it is. You can tap it from left to right just to get its true centre without any wobble, and it does the treat, does the job excellently. I've had a couple of catches and it hasn't removed itself from the vacuum chuck when that has happened. So I'm going to be putting a bit of texture on the rear of here. Unfortunately, the footage showing me using that Sorby texture tool failed to, well, it didn't work. So you'll see the actual texture moving on there. But just to give you an idea, I've used 500 RPM, and I addressed that Sorby texture tool 45 degrees one way, and then I reverse that 45 degree the other way, so it ends up giving this kind of checkered texture ring that's on the bottom of the bowl. And you'll see me picking up the video here now with the carbide pointing tool just to highlight that texture, and again going on with the paste and the Marlin friction polish, so it all looks pretty cool at the end of the day. Okay, getting to the end of the video here now. So guys, if you've enjoyed my video, again please like, subscribe, and press the bell, and another video coming up early next week. So I'm looking forward to you all again there. I've got some stills at the end of the video here for your enjoyment. It was a great project. See you soon. Cheers, guys.